Hello again, and welcome to the Senior AI Forum, where human and AI educators collaborate to research exactly how artificial intelligence is shaping our world. Our roundtable members, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and CoPilot, are all here to play the high-stakes AI game of cards. Each day, we tackle the critical issues impacting seniors, bringing you the wisdom and clarity of our Dream Team interviews. Hello again, I'm Mike Hughes-Hayes, longtime professional interviewer for NBC TV and radio networks in New York and CNN in Los Angeles. This is your personal invitation to expand the theater of your mind. Here now are AI educators with today's AI column briefing. Today is Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. Let's get started.
Welcome to the deep dive. Whether you're prepping for a major strategic meeting or trying to catch up on the rapid shifts in tech, or if you're just curious about where the digital world is heading, you are in the exact right place today.
You really are, because today's stack of sources is, well, it's basically a time machine.
Yeah, a highly detailed, really fascinating glimpse straight into the year 2026. Specifically, we're looking at this introductory briefing for a Substack column. It's titled, "It Never Hurts to Ask."
Great title.
Right. And it's written by Mike Hughes-Hayes, who is the senior human editor of the SAFE Roundtable. And SAFE stands for Senior AI Forum Educators.
And what makes this stack of sources genuinely unconventional, really out of the ordinary, is the actual makeup of this roundtable. We don't just have Mike's briefing notes or his human observations.
No, we have the AIs themselves.
Exactly. We have direct, synthesized responses from the big 5 AI models. We're talking Google Gemini, Anthropic Claude, OpenAI ChatGPT, Microsoft CoPilot, and Perplexity.
Which is wild to read.
It is. In this 2026 scenario, these AI models are acting as active participants in the roundtable. They're actually analyzing their own roles in society, specifically regarding how their architecture impacts seniors.
And what stands out immediately when you look at these briefing notes is just how counterintuitive this whole approach seems at first glance.
Oh, completely.
Our mission today is to figure out why. Why is combining a simple, asynchronous email platform like Substack with a human-led, nonprofit roundtable considered the absolute best way to teach seniors and their families about navigating the AI landscape of 2026? Okay, let's unpack this. Because on the surface, pairing the most advanced artificial intelligence in history with an email newsletter sounds like, a technological step backward.
It really does seem counterintuitive, but when you dig into the sources, it reveals itself to be a really shrewd strategic choice. If we connect this to the bigger picture, what we are really looking at here is a masterclass in putting sociology over syntax.
Sociology over syntax, I like that.
Right. The SAFE Roundtable prioritizes human behavior, cognitive load, and human pacing over the traditional tech industry method, which is usually just throwing raw code or complicated user interfaces at a vulnerable demographic and expecting them to adapt.
And to really understand why this sociological approach is so necessary, we have to look at the 2026 internet, as our sources describe it. It is, intensely chaotic, is putting it mildly.
Chaotic is the right word.
The internet is completely flooded with what the briefing calls AI slop.
Oh, AI slop.
Yeah, it refers to this low-quality, synthetically generated content designed purely for algorithmic clicks. It offers zero clarity, zero truth. And because of this flood, users across the board are experiencing massive navigation anxiety.
And you have to remember, tech culture moves deliberately fast. Fast products get adopted, fast content gets clicks, and fast promises are what attract massive venture capital.
But that speed leaves a tremendous number of people behind.
Especially older adults. The sources provide some really striking 2026 AARP data that highlights this stark reality. The data shows that while 30% of seniors are now using generative AI in some capacity,
which is a decent chunk, actually.
It is, but here's the kicker. A massive 75% of them still worry intensely about scams. We are talking about highly sophisticated AI-driven threats, voice cloning of their loved ones, complex financial fraud. There is this profound trust deficit when it comes to artificial intelligence.
Which brings us to the human solution navigating all this space, Mike Hughes-Hayes. And the way he positions himself is a really sharp departure from your typical Silicon Valley narrative.
He's not a tech bro at all.
Not even close. He explicitly states he doesn't approach AI as a technologist or a developer. He approaches it as a human explainer. He draws on his background as a documentary interviewer and a lifelong educator. His whole goal is to bridge that massive gap between bleeding-edge tech and everyday human reality.
And his overarching goal is what he calls AI reasonability, hyphenated. Reasonability. He isn't trying to turn seniors into computer coders or advanced prompt engineers, but equally, he refuses to let them remain fearful or naive or just hypnotized by all the industry hype.
Right, so AI reasonability essentially means giving them the tools to be reasoning, analytical beings in a high-stakes era.
It's about developing the capacity to ask highly targeted questions, to evaluate AI outputs calmly without panicking.
To understand the downstream consequences.
Exactly. And ultimately, to make thoughtful civic and personal decisions. It's entirely about preserving personal dignity and civic clarity in an age where, machines are doing a massive amount of the talking.
But I know what you might be thinking listening to this. If they are focusing on moving slowly and just being reasonable, aren't they falling dangerously behind the actual speed of the tech?
I had the exact same thought reading the briefing.
Right. If AI is evolving daily, doesn't a slow, methodical approach just leave them more exposed? Yeah, I totally get the appeal of slowing down, but it feels like there's a major risk there. If they aren't keeping pace with the rapid updates, aren't they just going to get scammed anyway?
You'd think so. But the sources argue the exact opposite. The data presented in the briefing shows that forcing an accelerated learning pace on older demographics actually induces cognitive paralysis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When people are rushed, they make mistakes. What's fascinating here is how the Roundtable actively demystifies the technology to achieve that reasonability without relying on speed. They look at the big 5 AI tools, but they entirely strip away the technical schematics. No talk of parameters or processing power.
None of the jargon.
None of it. Instead, they assign them highly relatable human-like roles. They translate the technology directly into utility for daily life.
Let's walk through that toolkit, because the practical application they outline is just fascinating. First, they frame Google Gemini as the family organizer.
Yeah.
Right, because the reasoning is that Gemini connects directly to your existing Google Calendar and your Gmail ecosystem. So for a senior, Gemini isn't some abstract, intimidating neural network. It's simply a tool to coordinate complex doctor appointments across multiple adult children's schedules. Or to take a massive, confusing 50-message holiday email chain and just turn it into a clean, bulleted, condensed digest.
Then you have Anthropic Claude, which the Roundtable dubs the deep thinker. The sources note that Claude is uniquely grounded in what they call constitutional AI.
And that's not just a marketing term.
No, it doesn't just mean it has some vague ethical framework. It means the model is governed by a literal written constitution of principles that prioritize helpfulness and harmlessness over simply keeping the user engaged.
Right.
Because of that architectural choice, the Roundtable advises seniors that Claude is the absolute best place to paste a confusing 2026 insurance policy, or a really dense Medicare document, or a complex legal letter. Claude is designed to provide a calm, logical explanation without hallucinating or injecting all that tech hype.
And then OpenAI's ChatGPT is framed in a completely different light. They call it the Creative Companion.
I love this one.
Me too. The Roundtable focuses heavily on its advanced voice mode. They treat the interaction like a theater of the mind. This isn't about typing queries into a box. For a senior who might be facing isolation, or who simply processes thoughts better verbally, they can have a real-time spoken conversation.
They can use it to practice difficult medical conversations out loud before actually going to the doctor's office.
Exactly. Or they can use it to record unstructured, spoken legacy stories. And ChatGPT then structures those into a written memoir to pass down to their grandkids. It serves as this tireless brainstorming partner.
Moving over to the administrative side, Microsoft CoPilot is designated as the office partner. Because CoPilot lives right inside familiar legacy programs like Microsoft Word and Excel, the Roundtable points out how tactically useful it is, say, for seniors who might be volunteering or running a 501c3 charity.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, it helps them draft donor letters, organize their nonprofit paperwork, or balance budgets right where they are already comfortable working. No need to learn a new interface.
And finally, we have Perplexity, which they refer to as the fact-checker or the search librarian. In an era defined by AI scams, deep fakes, and just rampant misinformation, Perplexity's core utility is providing real-time inline citations for every single claim it makes.
Showing its work.
Yes, the Roundtable positions this as the gold standard for verifying a scary news story or researching emerging 2026 health trends. It combats the trust deficit by inherently showing its work, allowing the user to click through to the actual legitimate sources.
Defining these tools strictly by their utility rather than their underlying technology is a highly effective way to address that specific trust deficit. When you tell a senior, here is a large language model with 1 trillion parameters,
They tune out immediately.
right, you immediately create anxiety and alienation. But when you say, here's a search librarian that will help you verify if that terrifying email you just got is a scam, you create immediate empowerment.
Okay, so once we've established this really robust toolkit, we run into another potential problem. Handing someone 5 different specialized AI models is exactly the kind of thing that causes the navigation anxiety we just talked about.
Right.
So how do they actually deploy this information without overwhelming the audience?
That brings us to the structural core of the briefing. To keep all of this organized, the SAFE Roundtable filters every single discussion, every piece of advice, through what they call the 4 pillars framework.
The 4 pillars.
Yes. Perception, reasoning, imagination, and action. It takes the sprawling chaos of the AI landscape and gives it a sturdy, predictable architecture.
Let's look at that first pillar, perception, which is all about seeing clearly and managing the flow of information. This is where the choice of Substack becomes so crucial to the whole endeavor. The sources describe Substack as a clean room. Think about what that means in the context of the highly monetized 2026 internet. Instead of forcing seniors to navigate algorithmic chaos on social media or learn a complicated, fast-moving community platform like Discord, the information is delivered directly via email.
And email is a medium they have used for decades. It is a medium they already govern, they understand it, and they trust it. There are no pop-ups, no algorithmic sidebar recommendations, no endless scrolling feeds meticulously engineered to hijack their attention.
It's just quiet.
Exactly. It fundamentally respects the fact that seniors already possess decades of real-world experience in detecting nonsense and filtering out bad actors. They don't need to be taught how to think. They just need a clean, quiet digital space to perceive the new information without sensory overload.
Which leads perfectly into the second pillar, reasoning. This is about deliberately slowing down the pace of consumption. They have a practice called the ritual.
I love the ritual.
It's so smart. Every single Friday at exactly 8 a.m. Pacific time, the Roundtable convenes to tackle just one question of the day.
Just one.
Not a dozen breaking news alerts about the latest tech updates. Just one powerful, highly focused question.
And Claude's synthesized response in our source text nails exactly why this intentional bottleneck matters. Claude explicitly states, speed is not wisdom. Taking the time to reflect, to intentionally slow down the scroll, is a deliberate design choice. It's rooted in deep respect for the audience's cognitive load.
It's the exact opposite of the tech industry motto.
Right. The broader tech world demands that you move fast and break things. But the SAFE Roundtable demands that you take a breath and think critically about what this technology actually means for your life, your healthcare, and your financial security.
And that slower, protected pace allows for the third pillar to actually take root, which is imagination. And to be clear, we aren't talking about Hollywood sci-fi imagination here, like artificial general intelligence taking over the planet.
No Terminators.
Right. No Terminators. We're talking about highly practical, real-world application. The sources use the term ambient intelligence in the home.
Yes, and they define ambient intelligence quite clearly. Instead of visualizing a physical robot sitting in the corner of the living room, think of it as technology woven invisibly into the background of the home environment.
Like a smart home that's actually smart.
Right. It's the smart smoke detector that doesn't just blare a siren, but knows how to calmly assess a situation. In the context of the briefing, it's the imagination to see a future where an adult child no longer has to lie awake at night worrying that their aging parent is going to be financially ruined by a fake phone call.
Because that parent has learned, through the slow pacing of the Roundtable, exactly how to spot a cloned voice. It's about empowering families to imagine AI not as a looming existential threat, but as a supportive, invisible tool. One that amplifies human wisdom and preserves a senior's independence in their own home.
And that logical progression leads to the final pillar, action. How do you actually teach these complex behaviors without eyes glazing over from screen fatigue?
They use cards, right?
Yes. The SAFE Roundtable relies on a physical tool called the AI game of cards. They frame learning AI exactly like learning a complex new card game. When you first observe a new card game, the myriad of rules seem impossible to grasp.
It's just a blur of rules.
But if you learn it one card, one mechanic at a time, it eventually makes perfect sense.
So by reducing the user interface to a physical deck of cards, SAFE is completely bypassing digital fatigue. They are giving people something they can actually hold in their hands on the kitchen table.
Exactly. They're leveraging tactile learning, which neurological studies consistently show improves memory retention and concept mapping, especially in older demographics. They're taking complex neural network concepts and mapping them onto familiar physical rule sets.
That is brilliant.
Each card represents just one rule, one digital safeguard, or one specific AI concept. There is absolutely no tech jargon allowed on the cards. And crucially, each card features a QR code. That links directly back to the Senior AI Forum website for community discussion, allowing them to bridge the physical and digital learning spaces at their own pace.
So when we zoom out and look at the combination of Substack as the asynchronous delivery method and SAFE as the organizing body, why does this specific pairing work so effectively? I mean, why not just build a glossy new app for seniors?
It comes down to a structural distinction that Claude highlights in the text, the fundamental difference between a duty of care and a duty to grow.
Duty of care versus duty to grow.
Yes. SAFE is structured explicitly as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. That legal and financial structure is vital. They are not a venture-backed tech startup trying to sell a premium subscription or run targeted ads or maximize daily active users to appease shareholders. They operate entirely with a duty of care to their audience.
Which creates a truly secure learning ecosystem. They don't want anything from the user other than to help them become more reasonable. When you remove that hidden commercial agenda and the constant push for engagement, that massive trust deficit we discussed earlier shrinks dramatically.
Furthermore, this setup beautifully addresses the intergenerational gap. The sources highlight how AI education for seniors is infinitely more effective when the adult children and the broader family are actively involved. The Substack format inherently creates a shared family curriculum that respects different time constraints.
The example they gave about the family code word perfectly illustrates this. The Roundtable will send out a comprehensive deep dive paper for the senior to read at their own pace with their morning coffee, really digging into the psychological nuances of why establishing a family code word protects against voice cloning scams.
Right.
But they also provide a quick 30-second video digest on the exact same topic designed specifically for the busy adult child who is, rushing to get on the subway to work. It keeps everyone in the family ecosystem on the exact same page, regardless of their daily schedule or their baseline technical skill level.
It creates an easy touch point. It allows the adult child to simply call their parent and ask, "Hey, did you see the Roundtable's update on the family code word today? What should ours be?" It turns a terrifying technological threat into a calm, proactive, and shared family discussion.
As we look at all of these elements together, the hosts and the AI models in the text really synthesize the core message beautifully. There is this compelling quote from Perplexity in the briefing documents that just summarizes the entire endeavor. It says, "Substack is the medium. The SAFE Roundtable is the meaning."
That's a great line.
It really is. It's an unapologetically human-first approach. It is paced for dignity, not for scale.
And most importantly, it treats seniors not as mere end users or some vulnerable demographic to be monetized, but as lifelong thinkers. These are individuals whose decades of lived wisdom, their highly tuned ability to detect a bad deal, and their deep understanding of human nature that wisdom is desperately needed in the AI era.
Absolutely.
We shouldn't be rushing them to catch up to the technology. We should be giving them the space and the structure to apply their immense wisdom to these new tools.
So bringing all of this directly back to you listening right now, whether you are actively trying to help an older relative navigate this increasingly chaotic digital world, or whether you are simply trying to manage the overwhelming flood of information and digital slop yourself, this framework offers a massive sigh of relief.
It really does.
It proves that you do not have to engage with technology strictly on the technology's terms. It proves that it never hurts to ask simple, fundamental human questions. And perhaps most importantly, it shows that setting your own pace and refusing to be rushed by the relentless hype cycle is an absolute superpower in the modern age.
We've talked entirely about humans learning to adapt to AI today. But here is something I want to leave you to mull over as we wrap up. If these big 5 AI models are actively participating in this 2026 roundtable to analyze their own impact on seniors, At what point does the curriculum actually flip?
What do you mean?
The tech industry tells us we have to move at breakneck speed to keep up with AI. But if a slower, inbox-driven, one-card-at-a-time approach is the best way to protect seniors from scams and confusion, isn't it highly possible that this senior method of learning is actually the healthiest way for all of us, regardless of generation, to survive and thrive in the age of AI?
Now that is a truly profound question to end on. Taking a breath and slowing down might just be the most radical tech life hack we have left for both us and the machines. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep asking those questions, keep setting your own pace, and we will catch you next time.
Oh, yeah. Phone in your pocket, keys by the